My brothers and sisters, as we continue to think about the whole topic of the church and gender based violence, I want to share with you some thoughts as to ways that we can all begin to be more active in bringing healing. And this is related to the talk that I gave today. By the time you get this, it will have been yesterday. And it was female clergy in the Caribbean. And there were three presenters from different islands. And I had the privilege of being one of them. And I want us to all be thinking, because over the coming weeks and months, and unfortunately, years, we're going to be having to deal with this topic in different ways at different times. And so one of the things I want us to think about is education. How are we going to help other people to recognize that God has called us to be in family together, made in the image of God? And so we need to use any group that exists in the church to have at least one or two topics every few months dealing with this subject, because this is real for the persons who are in our groups, even if they're not sharing. They are dealing with it. So our men's groups and women's groups and youth groups and children's groups and Sunday school and all the other kinds of groups that we are in any way connected with. The civic groups, we need to be talking about it. So Toastmasters can have this as some of the topics that persons have to do an impromptu on. The debating clubs at schools and school assemblies, because this is real for too many of our people. And wanting us to think in terms of counseling as number two, education, counseling. We need to have more people trained, lay people, clergy, persons who can specifically deal with all of the trauma that's involved, who understand from the point of view of the victim, and then those who are training to understand from the point of view of the perpetrator and how to work with them. We've got to be more sensitized, and we need to be trained in order to do the journeying. And of course, I usually talk to you about mentoring and parenting. So a good time is for during premarital and marital counseling to look at baptism and times when persons need the church for something. We need to be able to talk about certain things, even funerals, to talk about what it is that's going on. And I learned today a new word called femicide that I gather the United Nations or World Council of Churches, some large groups are using, instead of homicide, which has to do with murdering a man, femicide to do with murdering a woman. And so how to thirdly look at our finances. We've got to be able to create safe spaces and safe homes so that persons can be able to relocate at very short notice. We also need to be able to provide people with financial support, particularly if the perpetrator is the breadwinner. And so we need to have these public-private partnerships. We need to be able to get support from various fundraisers or whatever we can do to make it much more of an intentional effort to help people to have a better life. And of course, resources, Bible material. If you're interested, I have some Bible materials I can send to you that I've written. Again, my email, angelapalacious@gmail.com. And that's ANGELAPALACIOUS@gmail.com. And I'll just put GV as in gender violence, Bible studies. And I'll know to just forward to you. I have them in Word document and PowerPoint. And just wanting us to think in terms of skits and talks about having plays, because what we're looking at is anger management and conflict resolution, mediation, reconciliation, spiritual values, prayer exercises, spiritual direction, healing and forgiveness. No, there's so many angles to this that we can take, and we need to be getting the message out my brothers and sisters. And then finally, the fifth category, it was education, it was counseling, it was finances, resources, and prayer. We've got to continue to pray, my brothers and sisters. We've got to continue to pray for our people. We've got to pray for our nations. We've got to pray for those who are hurting, so that we all are looking at our own attitudes, our personalities, our relationships, our attitudes, our actions. So I leave this with you as a source of encouragement. Please be on the side of building up and healing, and not tearing down and adding to the hurt in God's world. Let us be the change that we need to see. God bless you.